Why does JRPG fashion look like this? You know, asymmetrical, big belts, big hair, dripping with accessories. Just like extra? That wasn't always the case. Before the bare midriffs and buckles and knee pillows and what have you, early Japanese RPGs were inspired by Western fantasy, especially Dungeons & Dragons. Like Dragon Quest with its knight in armor, or Dragon Slayer, which looks more like a blood and sandal Schwarzenegger vehicle than a video game. All of that changed with the Final Fantasy franchise. Yoshitaka Amano, the character designer for early Final Fantasy games, was heavily influenced by European movements like Art Nouveau. But he was also inspired by ukiyo-e, Japanese woodblock printing. In the USA, the most well-known ukiyo-e print is Hokusai's The Great Wave off Kanagawa. But early ukiyo-e artists were more into geishas and kabuki actors, specifically people who turned it out on the runway.
While men were attracted to the suggestive poses and physical perfection of these beautiful women, their wives studied the prints for the latest fashions. They took great interest in the courtesan's elegant and dramatic robes.
Basically, it was the 17th century equivalent to idol culture. Think baby metal meets wood prints. The lineage of ukiyo-e can be clearly seen in Amano's elegant and elaborate costumery. Full weekend at the salon hairstyles, the freshest of fresh patterns, drapes you could smother your lover in. Even simplified for 90s screens, Amano's dramatic and uniquely Japanese style became the iconic look of Final Fantasy. It also laid the groundwork for Amano's successor, Tetsuya Nomura. Nomura began as a debugger at Square during Final Fantasy IV, but worked his way up to character designer for Final Fantasy VII. He brought his own style to the franchise, specifically streetwear style. Nomura grew up alongside the Japanese fashion industry, which set the runway on fucking fire in the early 1980s, when Rei Kawakubo opened her shop in Paris. And Western designers like Vivienne Westwood brought punk to Japan. At the same time, small designers in Harajuku gained huge followings, leading to a boom of DC, or designer character brands. Each year saw new subgroups like Lolita, Schoolgirl, Bodycon, or Crow Tribe. In Nomura's own words, one of the biggest elements that helps the player to better imagine a character's personality or background is fashion. To get a better idea of just how much streetwear influenced Nomura's designs, I talked to Reggie Casual of The Casual, a YouTube channel dedicated to Japanese street fashion.
A lot of the characters in Final Fantasy use body-conscious style, actually. What's interesting about Riku, though, is that she has elements of not just body-conscious, but hip-hop, punk, and, deconstruction. And also a little bit of Comme des Garçons in there. You see her sleeves? That's something very much that Rei Kawakubo would do. Turning something as simple as a sleeve into something that's like filled with ribbons. That's just like highly impractical.
Kawakubo is also notable for layering black on black on black on black on black on black, which you see with like a lot of Final Fantasy characters.
With Eris, it was always interesting to see how that dynamic with the dress and boots and the jacket was performed. It was kind of like adding a more sensual take on it, but also a more outdoors, kind of biker Americana vibe to it.
Renoa's style incorporates bodycon and deconstruction, similar to designers Undercover and Mihara Yasuhiro. Yuna's style reflects a late 90s trend inspired by designer Takuya Angel, which incorporated kimono elements and patterns into casual outfits.
Titus represents this kind of metro punk sport guy. This hair you'll see everywhere in Japan. Everywhere, right? This actually comes from a lot of the idol groups that are famous in Japan. Sexy Zone, Kinky Kids, they all, Arashi and all these groups that have the guys with the kind of more metro style haircuts. And that's what he represents.
Modern audiences are as inspired by pop idols as they were in the 17th century.
His character inspired me. Right, that inspired me. The flow, the drape, the long coats, the jackets. Western culture influences it a lot, but there's still an element of Japanese tradition, element of Japanese detail. Monozukuri is what we call it now. And that really inspires me to keep going and doing what I'm doing.
Fashion influenced both Amano and Nomura, and their art has in turn influenced modern fashion. A menswear magazine featured a Prada spread with Final Fantasy XIII-2 characters. And Lightning proved that, actually, women don't need pockets in this Louis Vuitton purse ad. Final Fantasy XV completes the cycle. The main cast outfits were designed by Hiromu Takahara, the creative director of Rowan. And Luna Freya's wedding dress was designed by none other than Vivienne Westwood herself.
Everyone looks so happy. And it's all because of this one dress.
Who, as it turns out, is a canonical resident of Altesia. Since Nomura brought his love of streetwear fashion into Final Fantasy, and to The World Ends With You, and to a little thing called Kingdom Hearts, it's become a prevalent style across the JRPG genre. So the next time somebody tries to convince you that a JRPG character's outfit is dumb, tell them, actually, it's fashion.